Today I have a 2015 Hyundai Sante Fe Sport. The ABS light is on and the traction control lights are on the dash. So I'm going to hook up a scanner and see if there's any ABS codes logged into the computer. The OBD2 connector on this vehicle is behind this cover on the driver's side. Just pull the cover off and there is your OBD2 connector. I've connected the scanner to the computer. There are no powertrain DTCs. So now I'm going to switch over here, go down to ABS. We're going to enter that. And yes. And we do have, looks like 6 codes. This is for the right rear. And we're also showing codes for the left rear. So at this time, we're going to remove both wheels off the rear of the vehicle, and we're going to look at the sensors that are mounted into the wheel bearings. After removing the tire and wheel, I'm going to remove the caliper from this bracket right here. There are 2 14mm headed bolts up top here, and then after you get this out of the way, I'm going to take a zip tie and kind of hang it up over here by this shock absorber, and then I'm going to come under here and there's 2 more 14mm headed bolts to get this bracket off. And this one is really easy to get to, and this one over here is not so easy. So when we get to that, I'll tell you how I'm going to do it. After removing the caliper, I zip tied it to the shock absorber, and now you can see right up under here is that other 14mm headed bolt that I said was kind of hard to get to. You can actually see it really well with the caliper off of the vehicle. So now I'm going to take a wrench, a regular open-end wrench or box wrench, and take this bolt out, and then I'm going to take this bolt out and remove this bracket at that time, and then we can start working on getting this the rotor off. If you'll notice, when you get this bracket off, the bolt stays in here because of this arm right here. If you want to, you can take 2 19mm, a ratchet socket, and a wrench, and you can take this bolt out and maneuver this arm out of the way. I didn't do it on this one. You don't have to take it off, but it makes it a little trickier to get it out with this on, but that's just saving one more step. But either way, you can get it off of the vehicle. Now we're ready to remove the rotor. There are 2 Phillips head screws that actually hold the rotor to the hub. These things tend to be a little snug. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an impact driver, put a screwdriver head in here, and I'm going to break these loose with the impact driver. You should be able to get a decent sized Phillips head screwdriver and do the same thing manually. Just make sure that whatever size Phillips that you put in here, it matches up with the size of this screw right here. Otherwise you'll run the chance of stripping it out, and then it makes things a lot more difficult to get out at that time. After taking the rotor off, there are 4 bolts. There's one here, and then one right down here, and one on the other side right down here. And all of these bolts, the heads are on the back side of this piece right here. Like here's one here, there's one up here, there's one over here, and one over here. And these are 14mm headed bolts. So you probably want to get a socket ratchet and go in there and remove these bolts, and then this hub assembly will be released from the vehicle. One other thing to mention, on the back side of this hub assembly, this is where the ABS sensor wire connects to the sensor, which is on the back side of the hub. You can push this wire in right here. It's kind of hard to see, and when you push that in, you should be able to reach in here and kind of hold it down and unplug the wire, inspect it, make sure there's no corrosion or anything in there. Inspect those terminals right down there, and they're nice and clean and straight. So now we're going to take these 4 bolts out and remove the hub assembly. Here I have the old hub assembly. This is the new hub assembly. This one I did take an ohm meter and ohmed across these pins here. And this is the old one. It had 5.33 of resistance. This one, brand new, has 0.456. So that tells me that this thing has a ton of resistance, which is more than likely causing the ABS light to log on and show a problem. So now we're going to take this new hub over and we're going to reinstall it onto the vehicle. Before I'm placing the hub on the vehicle, I took some brake cleaner in a can and I sprayed the parking brake shoes and all the hardware under here to get all the old dust out of here. And now I'm going to take the new hub assembly and I'm going to line it up with these holes and then connect it to the frame, and we will put our bolts in and we will have the hub installed. Whenever you put the new hub in, make sure that your wire connector for the ABS is in the same position as when you took it off, so that after you get everything bolted up, you'll be able to come in here and attach this wire in the same position as when it was taken off. Okay, we have installed the rotor, and then after we put the rotor on, we put the 2 Phillips head screws, one here and one over here. Just snug them up, they don't have to be real tight. Then we put this bracket on next, and then we put the caliper back on. Got everything tightened up, and now I'm going to put the wheel on this side, and then I'm going to move over and do the same thing on the other side of the vehicle, because I was logging codes for both ABS sensors. And after that, we'll clear the codes and we'll do a road test and see what happens. Okay, I just got back from road testing the Sante Fe, and the ABS lights and traction control lights are off. They are no longer coming on. Recheck for codes. There's no codes in the system, so this job is complete. Thanks for watching.